Changes coming to the offense for the Texans. Lovie Smith met with the media today. Much more calm media session today than it was yesterday. And he kind of hinted that some changes might be coming on offense as soon as tomorrow. Here was Lovie Smith this morning talking about, well, we'll hear his opening statement, and then we'll get to where Lovie maybe teased some changes coming on offense. Here was Lovie earlier today.
And that was definitely the case yesterday. Offensively, it's tough when you can't get anything going. Third downs, we want to run the football. When you can't run the football, of course, that's tough. But passing game, all the different things that happened that led to that. We didn't play well up front, as I said yesterday. And nothing really got going. Defensively, I know it doesn't probably look that way, but we did a few good things. Third downs, we didn't take the ball away. And that in a game like that, takeaways would have helped a lot. Thought we played the run better. Guys played hard. Did some things to at least keep us in the game against a Washington team that's at the time had been the only undefeated football team in football. So kind of realized where we are.
Sounds kind of, it wasn't horse bleep on offense, B.O.B.
We have been watching the videos since then. The players aren't in today, so they'll come in tomorrow. We'll kind of let them know what we're going to do going forward. Take your question.
Have you, after a day of watching the film, have you decided to make any changes in coaching or quarterbacks or any of that?
As I said, the players come in tomorrow. So have I watched the video a few different times? Yeah, and made some decisions on how we're going to go forward. But you can probably understand if, like all changes and anything that we do from week to week, you kind of talk to the players first before we talk to you. So we're not pleased with where we are. And do we need to do some things differently? Yes, and we will.
Okay. Do we need to do some things differently? Yes, and we will. Okay. What are those things going to be? Are you going to bench Davis Mills? Is Davis Mills going to be benched? My prediction was yesterday on the postgame show, and shout out to everyone who came, participated, and enjoyed the postgame show. We do that after every Texans game. My prediction was I think Davis Mills gets benched as soon as tomorrow or Wednesday. That would be my prediction. And why would it be symbolic? Because it would be, we've known this for a while. We've probably known this for, I don't know, depending how long you stayed on the train. We've known this for weeks that Davis Mills isn't the guy, but they haven't acknowledged that. They haven't acknowledged that. They've talked about, he gives us the best chance to win. They've talked about, and by they, I mean Lovie, things that have gone on badly around him, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's, anything else. They haven't openly confirmed that they don't believe in Davis Mills as the long-term solution or even the solution post-2022. So if they bench Davis Mills, that's at least the first acknowledgement of that. And that's when, all this talk about Bryce Young and stuff, that's when it really intensifies. Because it's acknowledging it. It's doing it publicly. It's not, starting Davis Mills for 17 weeks and then saying, well, we're just going to evaluate everything. We're going to have a pretty good clue. And I think you need to be listening to Sports Radio 610 the next couple of days because it sounded like Lovie's going to make that decision tomorrow. And Wednesday morning, Nick Caserio is going to be on with Sean Pendergast and Seth Payne. So we'll hear what Caserio says about it. But I think it's going to be the quarterback getting replaced. I think they're going to go with Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen's not the long-term guy either. But could Kyle Allen play his way into being the backup next year? He's on a 1-year, $2.5 million contract. There's not going to be any opportunity for Kyle Allen to start in the league. So being a backup is what Kyle Allen's going to be in the NFL for a while. So if Kyle Allen goes in and Kyle Allen plays really, really well, Maybe you bring back Kyle Allen next year. Maybe Davis Mills isn't here next year. I could see Davis Mills as the backup, but if it's significantly better with Kyle Allen, then maybe Davis Mills, his tenure in Houston is very short. I do want to make this clear, though, and we said this at the start of the season. Like Davis Mills, it was worth kicking the tires on Davis Mills. He was a third-round pick. You got to look at him. He had an intriguing rookie year, if nothing else, and you got to look at him. Third-round picks don't usually become starters in the NFL. There's some exceptions. Russell Wilson. I know Dak Prescott went a little bit later. Everybody likes to talk about Tom Brady, but typically they don't become starting quarterbacks. The odds are against you. So it was worth the look. I just sense that the Texans realize they got to do something different. And the thing is this, like, yes, anytime you talk about, a bad football team, there's like plenty of blame to go around. But Davis Mills, and I thought Sterner said this yesterday, Davis Mills is making it impossible to evaluate anything on this team with just how bad he's been. So I think it's going to be a new quarterback, although could they be replacing Pep Hamilton? Pep Hamilton's been a very, very bad play caller. And again, we can go in circles and say he doesn't have the personnel. And early on, I was patient with Pep, and I think the bad quarterback play it's hard to overcome. But the other thing about Pep Hamilton, and I think this is what we got to be clear on, is what was the main appeal of Pep Hamilton? Like the main appeal of Pep Hamilton was he works well with quarterbacks. Oh, he worked well with Andrew Luck all those years. Oh, yeah, Justin Herbert with the Chargers. Oh, look what he did with Davis Mills. Davis Mills has regressed this year. Davis Mills is, I know Lovie Smith said that he's, what was the word that he used? He's gotten better. No, Davis Mills has regressed. So is Pep Hamilton just more equipped to be a quarterback coach? If he is, there's no shame in it. There's no shame in being a really good quarterback coach. There's no shame in being a really good coordinator. But replacing Pep Hamilton could be something else to keep an eye on. Does Ben McDaniels know how to call plays? But those are the two things. And maybe it's both. But it's going to look really weird if Lovie Smith talks about he's got to wait for the players to come in. He's got to make these changes, and then nothing happens. It's got to be something significant. I'm calling my shot. I think it's going to be Mills. My co-host, John Lopez, thinks it's going to be a new play caller. So we'll see. We'll definitely see tomorrow. Facebook user, I hope all your complaints don't start producing wins, especially since Mills backups aren't the future either. Yeah, well, the thing about that is they have a 2-win cushion now because of the Raiders win. So I find it very hard to believe they're going to win 2 games and the Raiders aren't going to win at least one more. And some of these other, 3-win teams aren't going to find ways to win another game. They got Miami this week. They're going to play Kansas City. They're going to have the Cleveland game. Don't know what's going to happen there. They're going to face the Cowboys. They're going to face all 3 teams in the division. Tennessee likely with the chance to kind of ice the division, and then the Colts, they're going to be trying to finish strong with Saturday, and then Jags, God, you never know what's up with them, except they suck when they play the Texans. So, they would have to win a couple of games and the Raiders not win any for that to happen. I hope they do bench Mills in the next few days. I think you might get your wish. Texans will be good. Trust the process. I agree. I'm not really out on the process. Look, $75 million in dead cap this year. You're going to have a new quarterback next year. You're going to have more draft equity. It's going to be more exciting. Now, this is the worst year of the rebuild by far. By far. It's the least amount of assets. And there have been some things that have been frustrating, but in the long term, scheme of things, I'm not discouraged by where they are in the process. Matter of fact, I'm kind of encouraged, especially if they get that number 1 pick. Armando, will a change in OC be the thing that can improve Mills for next year? I don't think that Mills is coming back next year. Christopher says, I'm totally disgusted with our offense this year. All I have to fall back on is just keep smiling when I think of our draft this upcoming year. It's our happy place. Yeah, mine too. And we're in it together, and it's going to be really exciting to cover that and to ride along with that. Took my wife's parents to their first BFL game, and their Commanders game. I'm assuming you mean NFL. They made key observations. One, they said our play calling was boring. run up the gut and check down. Mills holds the ball way too long and did not throw to Cooks earlier. Cap says Mills is coming back as backup. Maybe. What if Kyle Allen looks good? If Kyle Allen looks good, then what? I do think that's at least something to keep an eye on. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun. And I think we're gonna get some news tomorrow, and we're gonna learn some stuff from Lovie Smith. And where exactly he stands. Because if he doesn't do anything, I don't want to say like credibility is on the line, but there is something there. It was interesting too. He had a little bit more of a mellow tone today. So he seemed to have calmed down. And once the news breaks, we'll react to it right here. Follow me at Landry Locker on Twitter, at Landry Locker on Instagram. Spread the word. Going to keep this going. I want to break 1,000 so bad before the end of the year. That's the goal. So we'll see. Trying to get there. Just putting it out every day. Earlier on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then we lean a little bit later on Monday, and then of course we got the post-game show and everything else. And I'm on Sports Radio 610 from 10 to 2 in the Loop. Fire up the Odyssey app. Always have interviews with players weekly in the locker room, and the Texans let us do our job. They know how bad this is, so appreciate you. Talk to you tomorrow. Remember, no matter how bad it gets. If the quarterback gets benched, if you win 4 games, then you win 4 games the next, then it looks like you're going to win even less, and nobody's at the game, and everybody's mad at each other and screaming. Just remember, we're all in this together. Have a good night.